Some people are born into comfort, others are born into chaos, but very few choose to run toward pain, to face fear every single day, and to master their own mind in the process. This is the story of a man who redefined what the human body and mind are capable of. His name is David Goggins, Navy SEAL, ultra-endurance athlete, motivational speaker, and in the eyes of many, the hardest man alive. But it didn't start this way. David's story begins in darkness, in pain, in fear, before the medals, before the books, before the millions of inspired followers. He was just a kid, broken, beaten, lost, and this is how he transformed. But before we start, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Part 1, The Broken Boy, from abuse, fear, and racism to rock bottom. David Goggins was not born a warrior. He was not born with superhuman strength, and he certainly wasn't born into comfort or privilege. His story is not one of instant success or talent. It is a story of deep pain, relentless struggle, and unimaginable transformation. David Goggins is known today as one of the toughest men alive, a former Navy SEAL, an ultra-marathon runner, a motivational speaker, and the author of the best-selling book, Can't Hurt Me. But long before he became any of those things, he was just a scared, broken boy trying to survive a nightmare. Born on February 17, 1975, in Buffalo, New York, David's earliest years were defined by trauma. He lived with his father, David Goggins, who owned a skating rink business and forced the entire family to work long hours, often through the night. From the outside, they might have appeared to be a hard-working family, but inside those walls, David's life was filled with abuse. His father was violent, especially toward David's mother. David witnessed beatings, lived in fear, and absorbed the message that pain and control ruled the world. He didn't have a childhood filled with joy or play. He worked. He suffered. He feared going home. And when he finally escaped the grip of his abusive father, the damage had already been done. His mother took him and his brother away from Buffalo, hoping for a fresh start. But trauma doesn't disappear with a change of address. It lingers. It grows. It follows. As a young boy in a new town, David struggled immensely. School was a daily battle. He had a learning disability, a stutter, and deep-seated insecurities. He was one of the only black students in his classes, and he faced racism, isolation, and bullying. He felt invisible and unwanted, never truly fitting in. Teachers assumed he was lazy or unintelligent. Classmates teased him, and he began to see himself the same way the world seemed to see him, as someone who didn't matter. Years passed, and the trauma continued to shape his identity. He fell behind academically. He feared public speaking. He became deeply introverted, using silence as a shield. As he entered his teenage years, the self-hate began to manifest physically. He turned to food for comfort. He stopped caring about school. He lost interest in sports and gained weight rapidly. The once energetic child became a sedentary, depressed teenager. By the time he graduated high school, he was lost. He tried to join the Air Force, hoping that the military would offer him structure, discipline, and perhaps a way out of his mind. He was accepted into the Air Force's pararescue training, one of the toughest programs in the world. But early in the training, he discovered he had sickle cell trait, a genetic blood condition that made extreme training potentially dangerous. With fear and hesitation, he dropped out of the program. That moment haunted him for years. He felt like a failure, like he had been given a shot at greatness and thrown it away. The next few years were filled with stagnation. David took a job as an exterminator, spraying restaurants and homes for cockroaches and rodents. Every day he would wake up, go to work, come home, and binge on fast food. He watched TV for hours, gaining weight, losing motivation, and spiraling deeper into depression. At his lowest point, he weighed nearly 300 pounds. He hated himself. He hated what he saw in the mirror. But most of all, he hated that he had given up on himself. Then one night something changed. He was watching television when a documentary about Navy SEALs came on. He saw men being pushed to their physical and mental limits. They crawled through mud, carried boats on their backs, and suffered through Hell Week, the most brutal military training in the world. And for the first time in years, David felt something ignite inside him. A spark, a desire. He wanted to be like them. He wanted to be a Navy SEAL. But wanting it wasn't enough. To even apply, he had to weigh under 191 pounds. He was nearly 300. The recruiter laughed at him. The timeline was 3 months. Most people would have walked away. But David wasn't most people, not anymore. Something had changed. He made a decision that he would rather die than continue living a lie. He created a plan. He started working out obsessively. He switched to a strict diet, did cardio for hours, and pushed himself past every physical and mental barrier he had known. In just under 3 months, he lost more than 100 pounds. He applied to the Navy and eventually got accepted into SEAL training, Bud S. But this was just the beginning of his transformation. SEAL training is considered the hardest military training in the world, and Hell Week is the most infamous part. Recruits are deprived of sleep, pushed through freezing water, forced to carry heavy boats, and challenged in every way imaginable. Most drop out. Most ring the bell that signifies they've had enough. David didn't just go through Hell Week once. He went through it 3 times. The first time, he was injured. The second time, he was pulled out for medical reasons, but he refused to quit. On the 3rd try, he made it. He became a Navy SEAL, one of the few African American SEALs in the elite unit's history. But for David, it wasn't about the title. It was about proving to himself that he was no longer a victim, that he was no longer broken, that he could endure. After becoming a SEAL, David didn't stop pushing himself. He served with honor, going on deployments and participating in combat operations. But his war was always internal. He had conquered part of himself, but he wasn't done. He wanted to see how far he could go, not just as a soldier, but as a human being. So he turned to ultramarathons. He began running extreme races, 100 miles, 135 miles, races through deserts, mountains, and ice. He ran on broken feet. He ran with shin splints. He ran when his body begged him to stop. But he kept going, because for David, suffering was the path to growth. Pain was the teacher. He believed that most people only use about 40% of their potential, and that the remaining 60% can only be accessed by going through suffering. He didn't just run for himself. He ran to raise money for the families of fallen soldiers. He ran to honor those who had sacrificed their lives. He ran to give meaning to pain. In 2005, he completed the Badwater 135, a race through Death Valley in the summer, considered one of the toughest foot races in the world. The temperature soared to over 120 degrees. His feet blistered and bled. His legs locked up. He nearly died. But he finished. Each race became a new mountain to climb. Each challenge pushed him further than the last. He attempted to break the world record for most pull-ups in 24 hours. He failed twice. But on the 3rd attempt, he succeeded, completing 4,030 pull-ups in under 18 hours. It wasn't just about strength. It was about mental domination. People began to take notice. His story spread, not because he was the fastest or strongest, but because he had turned pain into power. He became a symbol of mental toughness. He spoke publicly, sharing his journey and encouraging others to take control of their lives. In 2018, he released his book, Can't Hurt Me, which detailed his life story with raw honesty. The book became a bestseller, inspiring millions. It wasn't just a motivational book. It was a challenge to the reader, a call to stop making excuses, to face the truth, and to do the hard work of transformation. David Goggins didn't sugarcoat anything. He spoke about his failures, his fears, and his continued battles with self-doubt. He didn't present himself as a superhero. He was human, but he showed what humans are capable of when they stop running from pain and start embracing it. For David, suffering isn't a punishment. It's a doorway. It's the path to freedom, to growth, to true strength. He doesn't believe in motivation. He believes in discipline. He wakes up every day and chooses hard work, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. He created tools to help himself, the accountability mirror, where he wrote hard truths about himself each day. The cookie jar, a mental collection of past victories he could draw strength from. And the 40% rule, a reminder that when you feel done, you've only tapped into a fraction of what's possible. Part 2, David Goggins' War. David Goggins didn't just change his body, he rewired his mind. For him, the transformation wasn't about abs or muscles. It was about reclaiming control, about becoming someone who could look in the mirror and no longer see weakness, fear, or excuses. It was about learning to love discomfort, to embrace discipline, and to dominate the voice in his head that told him to quit. Even as he began to gain attention as a speaker and author, David stayed true to his lifestyle. He kept waking up early. He kept running miles before the sun rose. He continued to test himself daily, not for fame or validation, but because he knew what would happen if he stopped. The darkness, the self-doubt, the pain from his past, they were always waiting. The only way to keep them at bay was to keep moving forward. He often said, "The mind is the most powerful weapon we have, but it can also be the most destructive." For David, the battle was always against the mind's tendency to seek comfort, to avoid hardship, to retreat to safety. He had lived that life before, overweight, broken, and invisible. He knew where that path led, and he vowed never to return. In interviews, people would ask him, "Why do you do this to yourself?" And his answer was always the same: "Because I'm at war with myself, and I want to win." He developed what he called the accountability mirror. Every night, he would stand in front of the mirror and speak the raw truth. If he was lazy that day, he would say it. If he failed a workout, he would own it. No lies, no excuses, just brutal honesty. That mirror became his greatest coach. It forced him to face his failures and inspired him to do better. He also created the concept of the cookie jar, not the sweet kind, but a mental reservoir of past victories. Every time he wanted to quit, he would reach into the cookie jar and pull out a memory. Hell Week, losing 100 pounds, completing Badwater. These moments reminded him of who he was, of what he had endured, and of what he was capable of. He once said, "Suffering is the true test of life. You don't know who you are until you've been broken." And David had been broken again and again. But each time he got up, each time he grew stronger, not despite the suffering, but because of it. Even in his personal life, David practiced extreme discipline. He didn't drink, he avoided junk food, he followed a strict training regimen. While others relaxed, he trained. While others watched Netflix, he ran. His motto was simple: stay hard. But staying hard wasn't about ego. It was about commitment, about not letting comfort win, about becoming someone you could be proud of. He wasn't a superhero. He was human. But he had done what few ever do. He had faced himself completely, and he had chosen to fight. David Goggins didn't care about trophies. He didn't care about medals, records, or even praise. What he cared about was the truth, raw, unfiltered, and often uncomfortable. And in a world where people were desperate to be liked, to be seen, to be validated, Goggins chose to be feared by weakness and respected by discipline. He had earned that respect, not with talent, but with relentless action. And as a conclusion, you might never become a Navy SEAL. You might never run a 100-mile race or break a world record, but you don't have to, because the real challenge isn't out there. It's in here, your mind. David Goggins showed the world that pain isn't the problem. Comfort is. Excuses are. Laziness is. Lying to yourself is. Every day you have a choice: to run from pain or to face it, to make excuses or to take ownership, to stay weak or to get stronger. No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no miracle, no motivation. Only you and your willingness to suffer for your own greatness. So look in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I running from pain or am I running toward who I was born to be? Because on the other side of pain is power. On the other side of struggle is strength. On the other side of fear is freedom. And don't forget, stay hard, always. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Station for more amazing videos that help you learn English through real stories.